Last video, we built a working app in our browser with zero installs. Cool trick. Also, not a real software yet. Today, we are taking the training wheels off. Browser IDEs are great for prototyping, but you can't set a real breakpoint. You can't reference your own NuGet packages, and you definitely can't ship this to a client as is. Enter OpenSilver. OpenSilver, the engine underneath XAML.io, which we made a video on last week, runs natively in Visual Studio for free with MIT license, and it compiles to a real WebAssembly you control. Here is an example of a simulator running the app that I created, and this same thing also runs on phone, tablet, and desktop browser, and also on the desktop. So let's get into it. So here is the finished expense flow app running in the both the simulator and the browser tab. So let me go and run this on the browser tab. So right now it is running on the simulator where you can see different aspect ratios for the different devices here provided in the simulator options. So let me close this, go to the Visual Studio and change it to a browser, and then click on the run. So by the end of this video, this exact app is running natively on your machine and in the WebAssembly. So here you can see our app running smoothly. I can add some amounts and add the expenses here. I can change the category, and you can also see it calculates the totals. Before we start building or writing this application, let's check if we have the necessary workloads or not. So for that, let's go and find our Visual Studio installer and launch it. Once it is launched, you can go to modify and ensure you have .NET Desktop development checked and ASP.NET and web development checked. And make sure you have the right SDKs. For example, if I go to here, I have the .NET SDK installed. And also if you go to the web components, for example, under the ASP.NET, you have the right workloads installed. For example, the .NET 10 WebAssembly build tools and the .NET 8 WebAssembly build tools. So once you have all these workloads available and installed, selected, you can go ahead and click on install. For me, those are already installed, so I do not have anything to install now. So I'll just go ahead and close this dialog box and also close this um, dialog box. Next is to go to Visual Studio extensions. You can do it in two ways. You can go to the website. Um, Let me launch the website over here and go to OpenSilver and open this website over here. And here you can see it has an option on the main page to download the SDK. When you click download the SDK, it will download, it will ask you what tool you need this SDK for. For example, for Visual Studio 2022 or 2026 for Visual Studio Code. And I will go ahead and click on Visual Studio 2026. And here you can see it has downloaded this extension file, which when clicked, will not download but try to install this VSIS package, which is the OpenSilver package. For me, since it is already installed, it will give this warning saying that this extension is already installed to the applicable products. For you, it will start the installation, and once it is installed, you will see these project types in the start screen when you create a new project. Now, if I go back to Visual Studio, you can also do it this way. So you can go and continue without code. You can go to extensions, manage extensions, and search for OpenSilver. And here you can see it is installed. But for you, if you have not installed it, you will have this option to install it, and when you click on install, it will download it, and it will ask you to close the browser, not the browser, sorry, the Visual Studio tool. And once the tool is closed, it will install the OpenSilver SDK package, and then you will see these project types in the start screen when you create a new project. So I will close this again, close, and go to the start window. And what I will do is start by creating a new project. And here you can see I have the OpenSilver project types available here. And here you can see I selected OpenSilver, and the language is C#, and I'll go ahead and click on the OpenSilver application and click next. Here I will name my project. So my project is expense flow. and then next I will click on this create button. So clicking on this create button opens this OpenSilver template dialog box where you can select the theme. So I will go ahead with the modern dark theme, and then you can select the version of .NET. I'll go with 8, and then you can choose the platform. You can choose web, Android, Windows, and so on. So I will go with web and Windows, and click on continue. Let's wait for the project to be created. So I will close this landing page, and here you can see the dependencies are being loaded. Now that all the dependencies are loaded, let's start adding our views models and view models to our application. So here in our shared project, let's go and create a few folders. So let's start by creating the new folder for models. Then let's add another folder for views, and then let's add one more for view models. And finally, I need one more folder to hold the controllers, not the controllers, but the converters. So I have my three folders ready. So let's start with the simple one and add a new class under models, and call this new class expense. Let me minimize this and add. Now, within our class, I need three properties: one for amount, one to capture the category, and the other one is the date. Also, let's change this class to public, and let's save this. So our expense class or the model is ready. Now let's move to the view model. So within our view model, let's add another class, call it main view model, and click on add. Now I have the code ready for the main view model, but before that we need to add a few NuGet packages. So let's go to manage NuGet package and go to browse and search for MVVM, and select MVVM, and select the latest version and install. Click on apply and accept. Once the NuGet package is installed, let's copy the namespaces that I already have. So I will go ahead and paste it. So I have added a few namespaces. One is for the MVVM toolkit, MVVM component model input, and so on. And also I have added this expense flow.models to include our models class over here. Now the IntelliSense is suggesting me to update this class to public partial instead of internal. So I will make that change, and also make the inherit the observable object interface. So once that is done, so next I will paste in the code that I have already created in the demo. So I will go ahead and paste in the code. So I'll explain you now what this code does. So here I have a full unfiltered set of expenses, and it is a list of type expenses. Then I have an observable property, observable collection of type expense to hold the expenses. Then we have the new amount property to capture the amount that is input in the text box. Then we have the selected category in the value that you select in the drop down. For example, these are the values or the categories: software, hardware, travel, and the default value is software. And once you change that value, this observable property will be triggered. Then you have the filter category set to all. These are the filter categories below. And then you have the total decimal value, which is a sum of all the amounts in the expense class. Then you have the relay commands, which will be triggered on the button add, the button delete, and the filter toggle, or the apply filter, which will be triggered when you select um, a drop down. So now all of that is done. So it shows me a few errors, and now those errors are gone. So our view model is now ready. So now next, let's move this main page.xaml within our views. And doing so, we'll have to make some changes. For example, let's open our main.page.view main page, and let's close this output window and the PowerShell and so on, and the error list. And here, you first thing that I'm going to change is make this page a user control, and get rid of this grid. We will add our own controls, and also remove this foreground value. And now I will do one more change to this, and that is to include the view model that we created. So let's go ahead and put the view model over here. And the next change that we are going to do is first save this and see if there are any errors, and there should be, because I have not modified the code behind. So let's change this to user control. That's the first change, and save this. And also we need to include the namespace views instead of view model, and save this. So I think this error should go away. Also, we need to do the same change in our class over here. So this is expense view flows dot view models, which the IntelliSense is suggesting. And let's save this and see if the error in the initialize component is gone, and it is gone. So next, we before we do any changes, let's add our data context. So for our user control, we will add our view model as our data context. And here you can see we have added our data context. Now let's begin with the grid. So we have our grid over here, and let me close the grid. And this grid has a background color of a darker shade of black gray, and then you have the column definitions with two columns of width 2 star and 1 star. So now let's save this, and now let's add the left pane for the expense list. So the whole left pane looks like this. So let me add this over here, and here you can see the left pane is a grid, and it is yeah, belongs to the column 0, and I think we need to remove this and add it at the end after our grid. So here now we have a grid which belongs to the column 0 and has a margin 0, and it has 3 rows, and the first value is this text block, and then you have, I think I need to rebuild and see if this designer comes back to picture. So it says that the could not be found, or the main page could not be found. Okay, so I forgot to update the app.xaml. So to do that, I need to fix this error here and use the explains flow.views, and doing so will fix the error. Now let me rebuild again, and hopefully the all the errors should be gone. Yeah, all the errors are now gone. And if I save all, close this designer and open it again, hopefully this time this designer should reflect the changes that we did in our XAML. So it says the load has failed and it is unable to parse the XAML, and I know why, because we have used a converter here. So if you see the design that we showed you before in the demo, it had a title, and then below the title it had a total text, and it showed the total of all the values shared. So right now here I have a converter applied to the text, and it will convert the value back and forth with the value that you provide to this text box. So for example, now if I go to converters, I do not have anything. So let me go to the class and add a currency converter here. And just okay, and add, and I have the code ready. I'll just copy and control A, control C, and then you can see it is using the namespace expense flow dot converters, and in this class I'm using this I value converter interface, and it has two methods, convert and convert back, which are converting the value back and forth. So here it is converting the value from string to an amount value, and this the convert back is not implemented. So if I go back now, and hopefully now once I make changes to the grid, for example, if I add the next grid, which is the right pane where we add the amounts, which is a stack panel, I will go ahead and add it, and here you can see the stack panel is a column 1, and it has the add expense buttons, and here you can see it is adding this calling this add expense command. So let me save this, close this, and say let's try to reload the designer. and see if the error goes away. Let me rebuild. Okay, there is one more thing that I missed, and that is to add the namespace for the converter. So let me copy this and paste it over here. Let me try and run this application and see if it responds to the changes that we have made. And let's see if it runs perfectly. But here you can see that there is an error, and it says that it cannot find a resource named currency converter or a resource name. Okay, so yes, and I know why this has happened, because if I minimize this, I have added the data context, but I did not add the resources section to this. So let me go ahead and paste the resources here. And now let's save this. And now you can see the designer has automatically loaded without any errors. And here you can see the designer. You can also see the controls that you want to add. You can see the layout, and you also have the possibility of interacting with the AI and designing your tool. This I have demonstrated on how to use this whole designer in my previous video. I will leave a link in the description on how to use this. And you can also see the different views on different devices. So for example, this is desktop, the mobile, and so on. And I can also change the aspect of the control. So now all things are done. So I just need to run this application on a Windows machine. And the app runs perfectly. So if I add software, if I add another category, maybe say hardware, add all, and here you can see it displays all the values perfectly. Now if I close this and switch to say a browser and run this application, you will quickly see a browser window appearing. And here you can see the browser window has launched, and the application is taking a few seconds to initialize. And there you can see the browser window displaying the same app. You can also add during the creation of this application, in the initial template window, you can also select other like Android or iOS, and then you will have different projects over here for them. And with that, you can run the same application in all of these devices without any problems. You can also use the simulator that comes with this, and you can simulate the app running in all these platforms. And that way you can understand how this app will look and work in these environments. For example, here the app will be loaded when I click on this phone button. The app will be loaded in a phone. uh, and then you can see how it looks in a tablet and how it looks on a desktop browser. And it is a functional app. Here you can click and try and run the app. So that was it for the tutorial. If you want the full expense flow source code, it is linked below in the description. You can clone it, break it, rebuild it. Subscribe if you want episode 9, where we deploy this to a real host for free. And tell me in the comments, WPF, Maui, or Abylonia, which one should OpenSilver go ahead to head with next. Please do subscribe to my channel. It motivates me to create more such videos, and I will see you in the next one. Till then, bye bye.